Good mornings, Titans Nation. Welcome back into another edition of the Morning Glory Show. We got a lot to talk about today. There's been a lot happening in the Titans organization since we were here last Thursday. There's been 3 trades out there, moving Malik Willis, moving Elijah Molden yesterday. We bring in Ernest Jones as well. We got to talk about this 53-man roster and what's been transpiring for that. And then we're going to touch back into those season projections and record predictions we gave a couple months back. We're going to touch base and see how that's kind of changed over time. But today, I am joined by both of my co-hosts, starting with B-Will at B-Will TFTV and at TFTV Sports. How you doing today, B-Will?
I'm great, man. We finally got, remember the dead days we had a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, in between the draft and training camp, man. We got a lot to talk about today, don't we?
We got to get into it. And then also on my other side, Jonathan Miller at Esports Valen. How you doing today, Jonathan?
Good, man. Man, it's an exciting time to be a Titans fan. Maybe just pose a little question right off rip. Best offseason in franchise history? Question mark? I don't know.
Certainly the most change. And when we talked about it with Jim Wyatt like a couple of months ago, we were like, this has already been the most change that we've ever seen.
It's up there for him.
And it's only continuously changed even more. So this is our last show before we actually hop into previewing our first game in Chicago. So we got to get into it today, but it's going to be super exciting. If you guys are joining us for the first time, do us a favor. Head over to YouTube, type in Glory Days Sports, join us in the live chat, drop your questions in the chat below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Leave a like on the video. If you're joining us on X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it, hit that retweet button, hit the like button, drop some comments down there as well. But we also have our Tajay Spears signed jersey giveaway still going on. As soon as we hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, we'll be giving away that signed jersey to one lucky subscriber. In addition, we got merch now. We got t-shirts. We got coffee mugs. Join the Morning Glory Show with our new logo that looks absolutely amazing.
Beautiful.
You guys know you want that logo on a shirt, man. Come on.
I'm still waiting.
Man.
Ours are ordered. We're waiting to get them in the mail. I don't think they've shipped just yet, but hopefully we'll have them before next week is what I'm hoping. So we'll see how that all plays out. But you can check that out on YouTube down below our chat. There should be a little link where you can purchase all those stuff and get your own. So go ahead and do that. But let's go ahead and give our just instant reactions to all these trades that we've got going on. And I think we start with the first one, which is Malik Willis has been traded to the Green Bay Packers for that 7th round pick. So we're just kind of re-adding on top of that. And we talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago that we were hoping to see Malik get some run with the 2s to hopefully build up this trade value. And Ran Carthon, he did his thing. He is cooking it up. So we'll start with you, Jonathan. What are your thoughts on moving Malik Willis, and what does this mean to this quarterback room going forward?
Yeah, I think the writing was on the wall in terms of Malik's stance on the team. It's clear that he was the 3rd quarterback. Also clear that he improved greatly too. So I think Ran Carthon in the presser yesterday said that he had earned a chance to be a number 2 guy. And interestingly enough, he said when Green Bay called. So Green Bay inquired on Malik Willis, which, says something about Malik Willis. We all had written him off as a guy who was being cut for sure, which I think was clearly the case, that they brought in Mason Rudolph to be the backup guy. And Mason proved it through several drives where he was just poised. Looked really good in that last preseason game. Moving around the pocket was impressive. But yeah, I think the writing was on the wall for Malik. Really happy for Malik, honestly, that he gets an opportunity to be the backup and kind of keep his career alive. I think he was really given a really unfair shake in the first couple of seasons with the Titans, to be completely honest with you. And that boy has not gotten a chance to throw to number ones. Poor guy. He has not had a chance to throw.
Even when he was playing with number ones, he didn't have number one. So
yeah, even when he was the starter, he didn't have real true number one talent. So yeah, happy for him. For Ran Carthon, he absolutely cooked with these trades. Obviously he was like, a couple of 7th round picks make the roster. Hold my beer. I'm gonna go get some 7th round picks. That's what that man said. He said, I'm gonna go collect more of these late round picks. Which, if you have guys who are gonna be getting cut, it makes sense. The Elijah Molden one was a little surprising for me. I was a little taken back off that trade, but I think the reason why it happened, at least from what I picked up from, I want to say it was Justin Graver, who did an awesome job reporting on all the preseason stuff and roster cut initial 353.
Mello, I want to say.
Mello. The other Justin.
Sorry, the other Justin. Yeah, right.
Justin Graver is an amazing Titans media member as well.
Yes, he is.
I love both of them, so I'm mixed. I always get them mixed up. But yeah, I think that for me, it's a little disappointing because I really loved Molden, but I do understand that he was upset or he was unhappy with his spot on the depth chart after they brought in 2 safeties. So it makes sense to move him. They saved some money and they made the exact amount of cap space that it costs for EJ as well. So overall, pretty happy with how things shook out. Glad that Carthon was able to accumulate some draft compensation for guys that probably just would have been cut. And then the trade from EJ, just absolute dog. Big upgrade in the middle of the defense. So I'm really happy with how things shook out for the 53. And I'm sure we'll get into the weeds on certain position groups that were kept and all that. But yeah, really happy with it.
Yeah, I think so. I was really happy as well with the trade of Malik Willis. It's always something that, dating back to the last year was something that I thought was really needed, and that's part of the reason why I thought that he should have, well, I ain't going to say I thought he should have started week 1, but we just needed some tape for Willis to be able to find some compensation for him one way or another, whether it was going to be last season or whether it was going to be in the preseason. And we got it one way or another. And it being a 7th it is what it is at this point. At least we got something back for him, right? So good on Malik. I mean, he did it. I'd say I did absolutely everything he could as a Titan with the hand that was dealt. He wasn't dealt a very good hand coming in this organization, if we're being honest. That just the offensive system wasn't very good. The pick itself looked like it was one of those J-Rob flyers. You know what I mean? That one of them ones where he's on the boat the night before. Like, what can I do? He that was one of those picks. And we felt the consequence of it. That was a 3rd round pick. So just happy for Malik. He handled it the right way as a professional should. Always, he was always very professional, and we got to give him kudos on that. Even when it just wasn't right for him. People don't remember he got booed off the field. Last season in one of the games, fans tried to say they were booing Vrabel. I was at the game. They wasn't booing Vrabel. They were booing Malik Willis. And he handled it like a professional, so got to give Malik his credit for that. And, he gave us 100% effort as much as he could. It's just, it don't work out sometimes. He's going to a good football team, a great organization, a great city in Green Bay with a great coach as well, and a great quarterback to learn from in Jordan Love. So a system that fits him a lot better than this system does. And it's good that he'll be a backup there, and hopefully he can make a career as a career backup, and we'll see. Now the other trade, Ernest Jones. I mean, that helps a shit ton. I ain't gonna lie to you. It not only gives us an upgrade at middle backer, but it also gives us an upgrade in the future with Cedric Gray, allowing him to just chill for a year, right? And instead of getting thrown in the fire, he's able to learn from a seasoned vet, 4 4-year vet linebacker that's produced in this league and has done really well. So excited to see what Ernest does. I got some inklings that, there's a reason why he was so cheap. It wasn't an injury. It might have been some weight stuff, but we'll see with that. I think he's back in shape now, but I don't think he went into camp in LA very, very good. But that's neither here nor there. But excited to see a player his caliber come into the organization, see what he can do for us, and produce at linebacker. Really, puts a cap on that defense of what Carthon's done this offseason. And by the way, Carthon's done an exceptional job this offseason, man. Better than what anybody could have imagined, honestly. I mean, we go into this offseason and we see all the holes we have, all the depth problems we have. Dude, look at what our depth pieces did in this preseason, Jake. Well,
yeah.
Our depth looked good in preseason, outperformed other teams' depth. So, Carthon's done an exceptional job. That scouting team's done an exceptional job. Got some late finds in the last few rounds of each of his drafts. He's done an exceptional job, and he's done everything that we've needed him to do to put Will Levis in the position to succeed and give him an opportunity to shine and really take away all his excuses. And that's all we could ask for out of Carthon.
Yeah, I think somebody posted it in one of the FMM bank chats for 104.5 yesterday. If the Cowboys had the offseason that the Titans had, you'd be talking about them as Super Bowl contenders on every ESPN channel that's out there. But going back to the depth, and even just acquiring a 7th-round pick for Malik Willis, would you rather have Malik Willis or James Williams or Jalen Harrell right now? I think it's without a doubt the other two. And those are our 7th-round picks. So Rand Carthon's in his bag. And then coming in to really this offseason, after we acquired LeJerry Sneed and Kenneth Murray and all these guys that are starters for us now, we're like, all right, depth is still the biggest question. And I still think it probably is, but it's shown that it's light years ahead of where it should be with how J-Rob left this roster. And I think Callahan talked about in the presser yesterday, they're going to bring in another quarterback, another young guy that can kind of learn behind this offense. And I was thinking about it. I was like, man, they just moved Malik Willis to the Packers. Packers just drafted Michael Pratt. They ended up cutting him. I was like, that would be a perfect fit for the Titans. Pair him up with Tajay Spears and Jaquan Jackson, who he was the quarterback for those two. Unfortunately, it looks like Tampa Bay beat us to the punch, though. So back to the drawing board there. As far as Ernest Jones goes, I mean, that guy, he's a smaller linebacker as is. So if he added some body fat percentage to that, I don't know how much it's going to hurt him. And just looking at the inklings of that is they really like the rookie undrafted free agent they brought in to kind of help replace him. But the dude is a leader. He's going to sit there and he's going to fill in the gaps. And the dude is like a cobra. He slithers in and he just strikes running back. So super happy there. And then Elijah Molden, he may have been 5th, 6th on the depth chart at this point in time. I mean, they got Monty Hooker. We know how you feel about him, but him and bringing in Jamal Adams and Diggs, and then even Mike Brown made the roster, and it's kind of talked about that those 4 or 5 were kind of interchangeable. Elijah Molden's talented, but the depth chart played out how it is. So
Molden's problem is just he can't cover no ground. He's like an undersized blanket. He ain't covering much space.
Well, he's also hurt all the time, and they went and got Julius Wood off of the waiver from Dallas, and Julius played really, really well in the preseason. Not only that, but he's a special teams ace. So, they were able to essentially wipe away a $3.5 million or $3.2 million salary hit, pay for Ernest Jones from that trade, and then also get some depth that maybe they felt better about. Like Elijah was upset, felt like he, wanted a chance to start, which, fair. He's getting towards the end of his first rookie contract, so wanted a chance. And then bringing in a guy who is going to fill that role, fresh faces. It's Titans Twitter has been memeing about it for the past 24 to 48 hours that it's Rand Carthon is absolutely wiping the floor with the John Robinson era of players. And to be completely honest with you, probably a good thing, right? Like getting a bunch of fresh faces. You've already turned the roster over in a really big way. You completely changed the offensive scheme, brought in all new coaches. Why not get a complete fresh start, get some new faces in here? I'm just kind of interested to see the dynamic between Ernest Jones and Kenneth Murray, because like Kenneth Murray has stepped into that leadership role pretty heavily, I would say. They're not going to hand EJ the green dot, which, to be completely honest with you, he probably would be the person that should wear it, but Kenneth Murray has earned it. So,
green dot talk.
It'll be, it'll be interesting to see like how that dynamic unfolds, but I'm really excited about the additions and everything they've done so far in the past couple days.
I think it's Kenneth next year. All right, I'm not Kenneth. I think it's Ernest Jones next year.
If we re-sign him, right? But
yeah.
I don't condone violence or anything like that. But over the last few years, somebody needs to smack shit out of J-Rob. Still to this day. Yeah. I mean, what he did to this franchise has got to be written in history books. The tail end of that was so bad. I mean, we're still dealing with it. How many years down the line? We're just getting over the cap casualty. It took us so long to get to a good spot cap wise. Now we're still trying to get rid of some of the players. We still got Jonathan's boy, Traylon Burks. We still got, I'm not even gonna name the other guys. We got rid of Kyle Phillips finally. We got Rashad Weaver still here. It's just
he's gone.
No, he's gone. As of yesterday. He made 53 initially. It's already been cut.
Yeah, they're trying to bring him back though.
But Murphy season. P squad. Yeah, why not?
They need to they need to send him to work out with Ronnie Coleman. That's what they need. He's got to put on some weight. But but I mean, I'm just saying we're finally getting rid of this. It's fine. We're finally getting to a new start, a new organization. I mean, it feels like a new organization. It feels like a new team. It feels like a new city in the city of Nashville. I'll be honest with you. There's so much optimism around this team now. We're gonna revisit our predictions for God's sakes. What does that say about just this offseason?
You guys are gonna revisit.
I'm just saying it's just been an exceptional job by Carthon, and I'm not even I'm the critical guy. And I say it's been an exceptional offseason by Carthon. I mean, he's exceeded my expectations of what he could have done in the first 2 years. I mean, we had, and I'm going to go on a little tiny rant, but the local media tried to gaslight this fan base right after Vrabel got fired. Am I lying?
Oh, yeah.
No.
It was on the radio waves. It was on the press conferences. They were, what is the vision? What is the vision? Shut the hell up. Let the vision play out. The vision's played out. Now it's crickets. Like, come on. And then they try to say, what has Carthon done? He sold hats. Okay, well, he's selling season tickets now.
Shit out of those.
He sold the shit out of the hats by one. He sold the shit out of the hats. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what that hat does to you, but I'm gonna give me one.
I gotta get one.
But he's gone from selling hats to selling season tickets, and now he's selling dreams to the fan base. This is what we're talking about. This is what we haven't had in a long time.
We used to pray for times like this.
Yeah. We got something to look forward to now.
Yep. No,
it's just a reminder. Do not let the media. Usually it's the national media that does it, but this time it was the local media. That's why it really rubbed me wrong because they know what time it is. Come on now.
National media still hasn't kept up. They're still keeping us down, but
they still think we got Vrabel at head coach.
They'll figure it out. Oh man, just listen to like fantasy football shows and these major guys. I mean, there was a guy that put it out yesterday. It was like, dude, you got to pick up Caleb Williams because this defense was the worst pass defending defense ever last year. I'm like,
oh yeah,
12, nobody's there anymore.
Colts fans came to defend us, bro.
12 receptions over expected.
Yeah,
I was like, what
they'll catch up. They'll catch up. They'll find out real quick. Week 1.
What week? So real quick before we dive into what we're going to dive into, what week do you think the national media is going to catch up to what the Titans are doing? You think it's by week 4 when we start 3-1, or they're going to say, "Oh, it's a blimp," or do you think it'll be week 8 when we're about 5-3?
I think it's going to be week 17 or 18 when we're vying for a playoff spot, and they have no other choice but to.
Hey, it's going to be the last game. This team is for real.
Yep.
Yeah,
motherfucker. I believed them this entire time. No, you did. You gave them a 3-13 record. We saw it, but
yeah, I think the fun argument is to say if this team, if any other team in a major market had turned over the way that this team has, they would absolutely be talking about it in a big way. I mean, just to see like NFL Network did their predictions again. And it like clockwork. It was every single team except for that one dude with the weird acronym name that I always forget his name, but he always picks the Titans. It's only one guy who picks us. And
the thing is, he's probably a running joke in the studio like, that's the Titans guy.
Yeah.
Nobody else gives a shit about the Titans. That guy's like, my Titans, man, I'm telling you, 1 year. He sounds like us.
Yep. Got to invite him on the show, man.
Yeah, we'll have him on at some point. But I think I put it out the other day. I was like, I think Rand Carthon, he says he doesn't have social media, but there's no way this man doesn't. He's just trolling.
He's
trolling X every day. Just
he's got a teenage daughter. He sees social
and then
media.
he goes and do it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. His daughter is his feeder. She's just telling him, hey, we got to trade for Ernest Jones. The people are calling for it out here. And then he makes it happen. We call for L'Jarius Sneed. He makes it happen. We got to go get a tackle. He drafts one in the first round. So dude is out there. That's all I'm going to say. I put up a statue right now. I don't think it's too late to get that started in the works for the new stadium. Let's make it happen.
It could be worse too, by the way. We could be cutting a 5th and 6th and 7th round pick from this year's draft.
Yeah. We could.
I believe in Ballard. You know what I mean?
If
Colts fans, I see Colts fans.
If it doesn't work out,
down bad right now.
If it doesn't work out, fire me. Bet. All right. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
They pulled up the percentages of the percentage of 5th, 6th, and 7th round picks that normally make the roster. And they're like, see, they all don't normally make the roster. No, Ballard sucks.
Not in the same year they don't. Not in the same year they don't. But, man, that's too much. But we do got a great question here in the comments by Edward Soto. Just a hypothetical, but how well do we think Tannehill would have done in this offense under Callahan and this improved offensive line and this upgraded wide receiver core? I think
I have my answer.
We'll go ahead and start out.
It would have been a similar result. I do think he would have had some success because there's a lot of intermediate throws, which Ryan could still do. But I think after that last shoulder and knee, like basically after the Bengals game, I think he was mentally done. So not to say that he won't get a chance at some point this season. I think he's the best free agent quarterback available for what it's worth. I just don't. I mean, he would have probably done fine in an efficiency first offense. That's basically what the Titans wanted to run with, the play action game. So he would have been able to run a lot of this offense, but he just can't. I don't think he can go at a high level anymore because you have to be able to push the ball down the field at certain times, and he just doesn't have that gas in his arm anymore. But it is an interesting question.
Very interesting question. And I would say go back last year to the Cincinnati Bengals tape after week 8 and look at Jake Brownlee, and that's what the offense would look like. And Tannehill would underperform that by about 25%. That's what it would look like, probably, in my opinion.
I agree slightly. I think it would look closer to what Joe Burrow is doing out there. Ryan Tannehill has great accuracy, has no feel for coverages, though, or how the play is breaking down. He has to see it first. And I think a guy like Calvin Ridley would really fit into his style of play. Maybe DeAndre Hopkins, maybe not the best fit for him. We've seen him be productive with it. I think at this point, it'd probably be a similar season to what Will Levis is going to put on tape for this year, just because it has great potential. I think it would be slightly different in the play calling, though. And then
Stoney he can't rip it. He can't rip it, bro.
No, he just doesn't have it anymore. He says, I hope they never fire Ballard.
I
think we are all in agreement there. That place is.
I trolled some Colts fans.
Bad.
I trolled some Colts fans last week where I responded. A lot of the Titans Twitter was ripping into this one guy's tweet, and I responded and I said something like, logical. I took the football first approach, right? Not the Titans fan in me. And someone responded, I think it was the Willie, the Titans fan Willie guy or whatever his name is. And he responded, he was like, wait, what? No, we don't want him to whatever. And then I was like, I was like, oh, wait. No, we're rocking with Ballard. Sorry, I was rooting for the wrong team. My bad, guys. And like all the Colts fans were like, wait, no, he turned on us. But yeah, those guys are, man, they're so done with Ballard.
I've got a good mind. And this is the only time I would wear another team's jersey. I've got a good mind to getting a custom Chris Ballard jersey and wearing it to the Indy game. Maybe a Titans jersy.
God, Chris Ballard might be a sleeper agent for us.
C. Ballard. A Titans jersey.
That'd be good.
Oh, that would be so good.
Put it on the dock.
It's got to be a Colts jersey. It
has to be a Colts jersey.
Sit in their section. Sit in the home section.
Oh, man.
And then just cheer every time the Titans do something good. They'd be like, yo,
man.
Get your boy. He's got a Colts hat on and stuff.
I'll be at the Indy game this year, so not rolling it out of the cards. But let's go
Thing
ahead.
The thing with Tannehill too, though, is he's where he belongs now. He's in the cockpit of a helicopter.
Jobless.
So
Yeah.
no, he's flying helicopters.
He got some beautiful kids, beautiful wife. He's living it up.
Yeah,
Millions
he had a
He'll show
good
up
career.
in week
Bank
10.
account. He's good.
He put the ski mask that he had on when he was negotiating with J-Rob. He's got that in the dresser still.
Maybe him on the Titans roster isn't the best question, but how would Tannehill perform in a Vikings uniform with Justin Jefferson over a Sam Darnold right now?
I like Tannehill.
Would that be an
over Darnold.
improvement?
I think so.
I think it would. I think it is. Sam Darnold just never had it. Just a name out there. But yeah. Let's hop into this 53, though, because there's definitely some things we can talk about here. This is the initial 53, so there will be changes, and I think there's already been changes since it's been announced.
Yep.
Nick Vanette's been cut. I think he's already been promoted. Rashad Weaver's been cut afterwards. They've brought in the Ali Gay and was the Dallas guy.
Julius Wood.
Julius Woods. So we'll see how
They
that
signed
all
another
plays
tight
out.
end too. It's Tony
that?
Keeley.
Okay. I was like, please allude.
Yeah, I was like, wait,
We
what?
all know Stoney. He likes the big slapping meat man to man. So that dude is a guard or center if I've ever seen one. We're talking about Stoney.
Came over
let's
Ben
hop
Watson,
into this. Oh yeah.
blocking tight end.
But we got 5 tight ends though as of right
lot,
now on
man.
this roster, with David Martin Robinson and Thomas Odukoya making the roster and kind of burning that international player on the practice squad. We'll see how this all plays out. I highly doubt they're carrying 5 into week 1. I would
Can't see it.
99% sure. But that kind of leads me to my first question. I think it was Terry Robisky put it out there. Not Terry Robisky. Is that his name?
Terry Robisky.
No, that's I was like, nope, that's not right. That's not right.
Hey, shout out the OC in our chat, man.
Yeah.
Smash Mouth.
But,
Exotic Smash Mouth, wasn't it?
what is his name?
Terry McCormick's going to whoop your ass.
McCormick. I know. Oh, Gabe Lily aneurysm.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Man. Oh, man. We're off the
They look
rails
alike.
already. A little bit. But he kind of alluded to the question, could Chigakonkwo be on the trade block right now? And if he was traded, what do we think that compensation could kind of look like? Have they been that impressed with DMR? Let's go and start with you, B. Will.
What do you think we can get for Chigakonkwo right now? Can we get like some social media engagement or something? I mean, that's all he does.
Rand
I'm
Carthon is
she-
collecting 7th-round picks like Infinity Stones, so maybe
Yeah, I
trying to
mean,
get all the 7th-round picks.
I would like to have another 7th round pick so I can play with mock drafts next year. Like 2 7s, I could move up from the 5th.
We're gonna bundle those.
mock
Maybe
draft live video. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd like to have another lever 7. I don't even think we'd get that for Chigakonkwo. I mean, as I said on Twitter, he's not the type of profile tight end that
about Malik Willis.
No, I said we need to get something from Malik Willis.
You said that
I didn't say
anything from Malik Willis.
I said we wouldn't get anything for him. We'll have to run the tape back. I said we need to get something for him. I don't think we'll get anything for Chigakonkwo. I propose that we bring Bradbury in for Chigakonkwo. I mean, that's like I don't know. We're trading out scrap for each other. But I'm just not impressed with Chig. I don't think he's that guy, and he's a gadget tight end at the end of the day, and teams don't use that outside of San Francisco. I mean, who uses gadget tight ends anymore? Come on now. But no, I don't think so. I mean, DMR did well, and the international tight end did well. We need to get another international guy in. I think we need to grab one of these flag football guys from France or something to figure out what we got to do with that. I don't know, but I mean, I'm not impressed with Chig, to be honest. It's just I don't think we can get anything for him. He hasn't shown us anything. He's caught the drops, so it's not very good.
He had a great rookie campaign, but last year, not a lot to be excited for. And
What can
then
you use
Josh
him?
Watt, he's
a
gadget.
He's a gadget guy.
tight end. But
We don't
I
have
will
the luxury of
say,
having a gadget guy yet.
I will say, going back and looking at Cincy's tape last year, once they did bring in Jake Browning, they used a lot of gadget tight ends. There was a lot of 12-man personnel out there. And a lot of the times that tight end was in the backfield blocking or running routes. Obviously, it's a little difference for us because we have Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard that are great in pass pro as receivers as well. But Chig Okonkwo does fit into that. But Josh Wiley's emergence this offseason, he's tight end 1. I think that goes without saying, or at least he is Y1, while it can be F1.
Different roles.
Right.
Roles.
We've seen Chig line up in the backfield and try and block. It's like try and lead block running ISO, and it doesn't work. He gets blown up. It's crazy.
I think the problem with how we've seen Chig utilized before versus how he can be utilized now is vastly different, right? Because like the creativity of Todd Downing and Tim Kelly is vastly different than what we've seen even just in the preseason so far from Brian Callahan, right? So my thing is, it's very clear that those two guys play two very different roles. So like the inline, like running your seams and your posts and stuff like that, like that's going to be Josh Wiley. But seeing Chig in that F role is really exciting because they clearly have some creativity, in the bag. And we've seen Chig, like, do we forget, like, think about a slip screen with Chig. Like, think if that was Chig instead of Nick Vannett in that Saints game. I don't know about you guys, but Nick was going about 2 miles an hour. Yep. It was very slow. Now he's letting his blocking develop. So, he's doing his thing, but he's not the athlete that Chig is. I don't know about you guys also, but have we forgotten that Chig might be the best run after catch skill player that we had on our team for the past 2 years? That boy, he carried a litter of Colts on his back several times. Like he's been really good with the ball in his hands. So I kind of like Chig in that, plugged into that F role, and kind of see how they can use him in a gadget sense. And even if that means that his usage is like 30, 35, 40% of the tight end snaps, and it's Josh with the others, maybe even DMR sprinkled in there, I'm cool with that. And I think Chig, like, he's a good player. Now, I think they have an interesting situation on their hands. I think they clearly see in DMR what we see. And David Martin Robinson, who was the athlete in college, clearly developed. He's like completing his role and his development as a tight end, doing really well blocking. He's becoming a more complete player. He's obviously contributing on special teams. So to me, they have an interesting thing happening where they're all young players and they're all kind of developing at a really interesting pace. So what does that mean? Does that mean that you go, okay, we have, let's call it 3 tight ends, because you like Odukoya as well. We have 3 tight ends on the backside, not including Nick, because obviously journeyman type of player, you don't build around him. So you have 3 young guys that you really like in Wiley, Odukoya, and DMR. Then you have Chig, who you also really like, but he's closer to the end of his rookie deal. Like, are you going to pay a tight end when you have a whole group of young tight ends that you really like? You're going to have to allocate that money somewhere else. So if you're looking at the front office side of things, it might make sense, not because Chig is not a good player or he shouldn't be on the team. I think he should. But maybe they're looking at Chig as a trading chip so they can, get some resources, maybe some back end for the, outside linebacker group or whatever. So to me, that's the only reason why you would consider trading Chig. You're likely not going to pay him because you have, great developmental tight ends on the back end who are going to stay on their rookie contracts. So that's the only thing that I'm kind of thinking about. But if he stays on the team and then you just end up not paying him, you don't get anything for him. That hasn't been Rand Carthon's MO. He just traded 2 players just now and got something for him. He's not just going to let good talent walk. And that's what I love about Carthon, because if I was in his seat, that'd be my MO too. It's like, look, if we know this guy's not going to be on our team and we want to do right by the player, all right, dog. We know what you're doing. You're doing right by the organization. It looks like you're also doing right by the player. And if you can do both, then awesome. But the real thing is, like, let me get some draft compensation for a guy who's not going to be here. So that's the only reason why I would see them trading Chig. I actually like Chig and where he can be in that role. But at the same time, I kind of want to see DMR. Like, I want to see him on the field fast. So who knows? And also, last note on Chig. He's been dependable. He's been available. Josh Wiley has not. He's been hurt. And granted, it's only been 1 season, but he hasn't been available. So does that stay? Is that the same thing this year? Right? Can he stay healthy? So that's my other question too. Like, Chig is a dependable, good player, and this will be an opportunity for Chig to have better players on the team, on the field at a certain point when he was the better player. Like, you wanted to get the ball in his hands because he was dynamic. So now, we'll see. There's opportunity there. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did end up trading him. And as far as trade compensation, I do think he would be worth a late round pick. Should they do that? Not necessarily. If I'm Ran Carthon, I'm trying to find a pair where I can send Chig and maybe get an edge player, like some additional depth. Because right now I'm not sold at the edge position, even with Ollie Gay. Like, I just, and Weaver's not there. It's literally Caleb Murphy, Ollie Gay on the backside right now. I don't love that. So I don't know. We'll see.
I don't see Chig being the only thing dependable about Chig is, him getting in front of the camera on a TikTok and him being available. He's not gonna. He's got the drops, and he fumbled quite a few times last year too. He's not that guy, and if we just use him as a gadget guy that comes in maybe 25, 35, 30% of the 20 to 25 to 30% of the, snap share. We talked about predictability last year, and we've completely gone away with that. That's anti-Callahan. I mean, that's the reason why we have Spears. That's the reason why we have Pollard, is to get away from that mantra of, hey, this guy's in the game. We need to, key in on Chig. That's exactly what we're trying to get away from. So that's why I just don't see that with Chig. And Chig hasn't shown enough talent outside of, his yak ability on screenplays to warrant, a spot on the roster to me, honestly. I mean, it's just he's not that good. And he's a gadget guy at the end of the day, and we don't have the luxury right now to have a gadget guy at the tight end position. We could have a gadget guy at, receiver, but not at the tight end position. I mean,
if we weren't so Levis, deep, then I would maybe argue this harder, but I'm with you a little bit on that. I think it does make sense to potentially move on from him. We didn't see him at all preseason, and this team kept 5 tight ends. Like, what? It doesn't make any sense. We're all sitting here going, there's no shot. So I think you're probably right. It probably does make sense to move on from him if you can get fair compensation, I would say.
And we kept 5 tight ends, but Levis's snap share and the formations that he was in when he played in preseason, 65% was of 3 receiver personnel. Didn't even have tight ends when Levis was playing. So that's what makes the whole tight end thing puzzling, and why I think they're trying to move on from some of them.
I think it's fine to have a gadget tight end, but I don't think you need 2 gadget tight ends on the 53. And I think that's what DMR is as well. But looking back at those practice snaps, we're not to change that man's name to DNR the way he's blocking people out there. He's a small tight end, but he throws his entire body into it. So probably underutilized in college, looking back at that tape. But Chigakako, if we could only get a 7 for him, I'm holding on to him. I think he's slightly better than that. If you can get a 5th or 6th, which I don't think you can get, I'm just holding. I'm holding on to that stock. Let it get bigger. Maybe we can trade him before that trade deadline. Maybe he has a great game there.
But that means you're holding 5 tight ends going into the season. I
don't think you do.
4 tight ends, sure. If you love them and you really want to keep them for development, I get it. But 5 is so heavy. That is not a
Jake,
thing.
You've got the right idea. I just don't think the time frame is going to be the middle of the season. I think the time frame is till the end
beginning
of
the season. Yeah.
I
mean, we'll see. Nothing has. These are all rumors, by the way. Like, this got spun up by like Titans radio or whatever. Like, I don't know if there's any validity to this, if we're being completely honest. But it does make sense. It does make sense. And there's spots on the roster right now, specifically at edge, that if there were an opportunity to, move some assets from one position to another, I think that makes sense. I am with you though, Jake. I don't love another 7th round pick for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're trading a good player for whatever, but at the same time, in B. Will's defense of that argument, there's just really good development on the backside. And by the way, DMR, I don't think that he's just a gadget guy. I think he can play every role. I think DMR has shown us that he has a complete game. Like, he can play the Y, he can play the F. Because, I mean, bro, just the opening drive against the Saints, that ball that he completely stretches out for, that he's an athlete, bro. He is a straight up athlete, and he can block. Like, he is fantastic. So if I'm the coaching staff, we're going, okay, we're really high on this kid. We need to get him the ball. We need to get him out there, get him some reps. He doesn't need to just sit on the bench without any pads on and just carry him on the 53, right? So I think that means that you should potentially have a suitor or try to find a suitor for Chig.
So we just roll all 5 tight ends out there at one point in time. We run 5 personnel every play of the game. Hand it off
15
to Chig.
personnel.
Just every play.
No, we got a receiver. We've got 2 receivers that operate like tight ends too. So I mean, Westbrook, Akina, and Burks.
You look at that relative athletic score. Chigakonkwo is more of a receiver than Traylon Burks. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But before we move on to our last little bit,
He's
I think
more of a running back, but
he really is. I think that's a whole nother conversation I want to get into at some point, that the running back position is going away and it's going to be just this flex position in real life, essentially. But that's another time.
Yeah. And real quick, because I like that. I like where you're going with that, Jake. So if we had a guy that was directly from Shanahan's tree, it'd be a different conversation. Chig will be a guy that would fit perfectly in that use check role, a little bit where a Debo-ish role where there's no roles. You know what I mean? And you would have, it's positionless football, right? I mean, Chig would fit in that. I think he could be a good candidate to go to San Francisco. Chig will fit in San Francisco.
Dog in San Francisco, bro.
That's him.
I'm not ready.
He just doesn't fit us.
I don't know if I'm ready to.
It's not me. It's you.
Yeah, that's what I told her.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about these linebackers, though, because that's the other spot that really just stands out to me, that we have overburdened ourselves with. We have 7 as of right now with Otis Reese. Oh, I'm sorry. We have 6 now because
Cedric
we
Gray
just
IR.
Yeah. Well, yes, we have 6 now because Cedric Gray is on the PUP for at least 4 games. So we'll see how that plays out. Nerve injuries, that doesn't sit well with me. Gives me Caleb Farley.
Is it stinger or is it nerve injuries?
They said nerve. I forget who reported it, but they said nerve, and that gives me Caleb Farley PTSD all over again. But it's in his shoulder. He should be fine. He should be back.
Stingers.
Yeah, but ultimately, this is now a pretty much redshirt year with them bringing in Ernest Jones, and I still think this is updated. So Ernest Jones, Kenneth Murley, Jack Gibbons, love him or hate him. Those are your big 3, and then you got James Williams, Otis Reese, and Luke Gifford. The special teams ace out there is your 6th. So
he's more of a jack.
Full of ejection. But the league's a 6 on the active roster. I don't think we roll with 6 on the 53 going into week 1. I think Luke Gifford is probably the first to go bye-bye. But how do you guys see this linebacker room now? And in regards to the AFC South, where would you put these starters now that Ernest Jones and Kenneth Murray in there?
I'm not too sure about the rest of the AFC South, just because it's undoubtedly, well, I ain't gonna say undoubtedly because edge is our weakest position group, but it's our second weakest group defensively, arguably on the roster. Like it might be our second worst group on the whole roster. Let's be honest. And it's upgraded a lot better than what it was, right? Ernest Jones a great upgrade. Kenneth Murray, the jury's still out on him. The team is receptive to him. He's a leader. He's a captain. So, that gives me a little bit more optimism with him. But at the end of the day, the way this defense looks like it's going to be set up, we're not going to be relying on the linebackers to be generals. We're not going to be relying on the linebackers to, dictate things. Yeah.
We got one now.
Who?
EJ.
Yeah, but he's not really – I'm saying he's more of a role of an attacking linebacker than a general to sit there. He can do it, right?
He was pretty good in coverage last year.
He is, but his strength –
he's better than Kenneth Murray in coverage.
Yeah. But his strength is attacking and pass rushing as a linebacker. That's his strength.
He's the best blitzing linebacker out there, I believe.
Yes, so he has that strength, and that's we sort of got 2 linebackers of that mold. That's where I look like Denard Wilson is going to be using those linebackers in that realm. Otis Reese can be a guy like that too. He's just a flyer, So I don't really want to say to the rest of the division how our linebackers looks, but I think it would be better if we looked at our defense relative to the rest of the division, because this defense is going to look really good, So I'm excited for the defense. Honestly, I think it's going to be the strength of this team going throughout the season. And also, Jonathan, should I buy Cedric Gray stock at this point?
I'm not out on Cedric Gray. I think we have to see him play like in real NFL action. So I think what's going to happen, if I'm putting my like stock hat on and like getting my charts out, I think what's going to happen is he will probably stay on the IR until week 5. He'll get activated. He'll push one of the other guys out like Gifford or Gibbons if I win the lottery, or, some other backer. Maybe even Otis Reese potentially. I really like Otis over Gibbons.
I love Otis Reese.
But he'll push him out. He'll be linebacker 3. And then he'll likely rotate in at some point later in the mid to late season. And then the Titans will have a decision to make because Kenneth Murray's on a 1-year deal. EJ will need to be re-signed, and then they'll be looking at a guy who I think should be a starter for them. As long as he can stay healthy. This injury is a little jarring, but yeah, I'm not selling my Cedric Gray stock. Let's see him play. Even in his rookie year, let's see him play, and then we can kind of make that judgment call. But the good news is he's on his rookie deal. Even if he's not great, he'll still be a backup and get a chance to excel. But yeah,
what I hope I don't have to do is look back at this draft and see where we could have got a more dynamic receiver in, these mid rounds where we drafted another guy. That's my thing. But
I'm selling.
I'm not going to say his name. You're selling Cedric Gray stock.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I like James Williams better than Cedric Gray coming out of the draft, and it really hasn't changed. And I liked what I saw James Williams in the preseason. Cedric Gray, by all accounts, was struggling in training camp and mini camp, and we weren't seeing improvements from that. I don't think he's going to be a bust because it's very hard to bust as a 4th-round pick. But I don't know if he'll ever be an eventual starter at this point in time. And that's coming into the year. We were penciling in there right next to Kenneth Murray.
Green dot.
Jack Gibbons came in.
He got hurt.
He did get hurt.
It is what it is. But I mean, to be fair, Jake, at first
Traylon Burks got hurt.
I was like, really? You're out on him? And then I was like, oh wait, no, you've been carrying the James Williams torch.
I'm carrying that torch.
So yeah, that's fine. I'm fine.
He bought James Williams stock when it was penny stocks.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm holding.
Jonathan bought a little high. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think so. He's a 4th-round pick.
Yeah, he's a 4th-round pick.
I would have taken Cedric Gray in the 3rd round. If it's fair. I had him in it. Yeah. So I still like him as a player. He got hurt. It's unfortunate. We'll see how he develops. I hope he develops. But at the same time, I feel a lot better about our middle linebackers with EJ. I'm really high on Ernest Jones. I loved him in the Super Bowl. I thought he was a stud, and he played out of his mind last year. He was he is the C-ball get ball. But more so than that, I feel like he's a really complete player too. So he gives us legitimate stopping power in the middle of the defense now, whereas before it was like, okay, we got a lot of young guys. Hopefully we can put this thing together. I feel really way better about, I would even feel okay about Gibbons like rotating in early downs now. I don't hate it. But on 3rd
Gibbons is NWI but linebacker. I'm fine with him being a depth piece.
I don't have to clarify. You guys know my stance on Jack Gibbons.
They need to lock Gibbons out of the facility right now.
I don't even want him on the team. But
I'm fine with him being linebacker 3.
I'm okay with him rotating in early downs, like just not on 3rd down. So,
what's y'all ceiling for this defense this year?
Man, with Ernest Jones now,
I think the ceiling is top 5.
I was going to say the same. Same.
I think the floor
like top 5 and not 1, or top 5 and not 5.
No, top 5 and
I could see them finishing
3 to 5.
3.
Yeah, 3 to 5.
3 is absolute ceiling. I think they land amongst the 8 to 10 probably.
Yeah, I think it's probably 10 to 15 on the low end. I think
that point we might be looking for a DC. Make sure.
Oh yeah, it's very likely.
When we hired Bernard Wilson, I said that.
I would say it's very likely, but look how long it took Raheem Morris to get a job.
I'm hoping it's 2 years. I'm hoping that he has a good year this year and people are on his radar, and then he has a great year next year, and then he moves on.
I thought Raheem Morris was the head coach of the Buccaneers at one point.
I believe he was.
Let's see if I was right.
Might have been interim. I don't think he was.
Though. Served as the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 2009 to 2011 as the interim head coach.
Yeah, I thought he was interim.
Oh, wait. No. He was the head coach. He was the head coach of Tampa Bay, and then he served as the interim head coach of the Falcons in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Recall that.
But even these talented defensive coaches, it takes a lot for them to get jobs, right? I mean, Schwartz, I know he's on the tail end of things, but he ain't getting no head coaching job. He's
I
one of
think
the best DCs
best-
in the league.
Best case scenario, we get to keep Denard for 2 years.
I think we'll be fine, man. I don't think he'll get a defensive job
I
for
don't know, man.
3 or 4 years.
Hearing
Young
that man
standout
talk.
coach.
Dan Quinn, look how long it took Dan Quinn. Even though he had prior history,
Dan
and there's
Quinn's a
his last.
beta, bro. Denard
You
Wilson,
know.
hair on his chest. You know what I'm saying? Like he just has the aura.
I was so scared we were going to hire Dan Quinn this year instead of Callahan. I was literally terrified because I could just see the writing on the wall, and it's just going to be another Mike Vrabel rerun, but lesser of a coach. So I'm super happy with it.
Oh, thank God for Amy Adams Strunk, man.
But let's
Thank
go
God
ahead.
for the vision.
Exactly. Let's go ahead and touch briefly on these season predictions. And this is the one we put together at the very beginning, right after the schedule is announced. Jonathan and Mr. Optimism over there at 10-7. Me and B-Well over there at 8-9 apiece. The only games that we agreed on as far as wins were week 1 in Chicago. We got week 9 in New England, which breaking news, they did just announce that Jacoby Brissett is their starting quarterback for week 1. If anybody had
Good for them.
anybody had any doubt in their mind, by week 9, we will see. I think it'll probably still be Drake May. But
I think it's going to be like week 5 or week 6. We're going to see Drake May.
Yeah, he's going to be dodging bullets early, I think. And then we got Minnesota on week 11, and then Jacksonville, we have them sweeping both games in week 14 and week 17. Jonathan, you said you're sticking with your guns at 10-7. Are we flipping any games, or are you just keeping the writing on the wall as is?
I don't know, Jake. You tell me, buddy. I know they can't see me right now, but I am leaned back in my chair.
We'll throw it back.
In the world. Nah, man, I'm staying put at 10-7. Look, I often lean optimism on this show. You guys know that. I often lean optimism in my Titans opinions. That's gotten me burnt before. All right, I've been burnt, but it's okay. Like for me, I'm a big fan of where this team is heading. I think that one thing that's not getting talked about is how do you scheme against this team right now? How do you prepare for this offense? Callahan just showed you 3 different looks, if you will, from 3 different preseason games. Obviously, the Vikings, you didn't see any starters, but from week 1 to week 3 of the preseason, you saw very different things schematically. So going into week 1 for the Bears, they're going to be looking at this Titans offense going, okay, we think it's going to have elements of what Cincinnati does. We think that they're going to do a lot of things in the screen game, but are they? You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is a hard team to scheme against at first. And this defense is so dramatically different. Very, very different. I mean, what are we carrying? Like 5 starters from last year to this year out of 22 guys? Like, what are we talking? Like, bro, this is, I know it's easy for us. It's easy for us because we're fans. We've been dissecting everything that's happened this offseason, all offseason long. And we see it, right? The only question mark is, can they put it together? Now it's time to go do it on the field. But for people that are outside of our market, people outside of the realm of Titans fandom and inside the office, everyone is seeing this team in the same way. It's like, is Will Levis the guy? Is blah, 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 blah. It's like, bro, we've seen it. We know we feel pretty confident he's the guy. So yeah, for me, 10-7 is exceptional. 10 wins is a big deal. I think there's a couple of games on there that you guys have us losing that I think there's a strong chance we win. I have us going 1-4 to open the year. So I'm not saying like the Titans are Super Bowl ready right now. I think they're going to have a rough start. They have a very tough schedule in the first several weeks, arguably the toughest schedule I've seen in the first 4 weeks of any team. But we'll see. I mean, I think it's even possible we crawl out of week 4 with 2 wins. It's possible. So yeah, I'm good. 10-7. I feel really confident about that. I think we're going to be in the playoff mix, if not right there in the wild card, looking pretty good. So yeah, I'll stay at 10-7.
Jay, go back to the schedule real quick. I got 2 games that I think will flip.
All
so
right.
I'm looking at Green Bay to possibly flip.
That boy
And
has us losing in Washington, dog.
oh shit. Is that a typo?
Brother.
Flip that.
So that's
You
2
can flip.
games.
I've got the Green Bay is a questionable flip. I've got the Washington flip, and I've got one of the Houston games as a Okay, we're already split with Houston. So yeah, Green Bay and Washington. I got us at 10-7 with Jonathan. That's where I got us at.
Hey,
All right, so you guys have
welcome.
moved to 10-7. I thought about this ahead of time, and I've already updated the graphic. I got us at 9-8 right now. So I'm switching to agreement with you guys in week 7 in Buffalo. They just haven't put enough together around Josh Allen, I don't think. And I think Dalton Kincaid's a great emerging tight end. But other than that, I mean, they got Khalil Shakir. They brought in a wide receiver out of Florida State that I'm not high on, Keon Coleman. By all counts, he's looking good for him, but we'll see. Week 18, I have us beating Houston to maybe push into that wild card potentially. And then I did have us sweeping the Jacksonville Jaguars. I did go ahead and switch week 14 to a loss for me, but that is still a very big toss-up game for me. And that is the one at home, actually. I didn't even flip the one that was in Jacksonville. But other than that, I think I could definitely see us getting 10-7.
Hey. I ain't gonna lie to you. My eye is on that Miami game, and my eye is on what's that? Go back one more time. Bottom left, that Chargers game. That's what my eyes are on. Those are the two games I'm looking at.
You guys are wild for giving us losses in LA, bro.
No,
that team is.
Harbaugh is going to have that team ready to go. I think
he's going to run the piss out the ball.
Good, bro. The defense is not good.
Yeah,
it'll be good with him.
That's why I'm looking at the
talent,
Chargers
but
game,
he'll
right?
be fine.
Yeah, so I could see the Chargers game as, a win there, and then Miami, Sneeze got Tariq Hill's number,
I mean, so. Miami, that one, I think they are coming out with vengeance after last year.
He's got a better beat. He's got a better beat on Tyreek Hill than the court system and the child support payments. I mean, Sneed's all over him. I'm not lying to you.
It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game, and that one. Do we, as of right now, we only have one primetime game, right?
Correct. Miami.
And is it Miami? Okay, I was like, that's the one that deserves it. So that'll be all eyes on deck again. And after that game, people were giving praise to Will Levis. Maybe it'll be the same. They've kind of fallen off short. So
yeah,
I can't wait for our later games to get bumped to Saturday primetime.
Or just 3:00 games.
I mean,
we don't have any 3:00 games.
I don't know about y'all, but I love a noon game. That's the one I enjoy the most. As far as like watching on TV,
sure.
I still go to beat-ups and stuff with my same friends that I've been going with for a decade plus. So noon games just hit different in
if
the
I'm
atmosphere
going to
of football.
A game, I want it to be in the evening. But if I'm just at home chilling, let me watch it at noon. Let me tweet, and then let me take a nap during the 3:30 games and check out primetime that night. Yep. I think that really covers a lot of it today.
Great Carthon's off season so far. Last thing probably.
Yep.
I mean, we had it at B's. We had it at B's going like right after the draft, didn't we? I mean, everybody was around a B.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't a B no more, man.
I think wait, do we still have that? Do you have that graphic by chance, Jake?
I'm sure I do.
If you guys, ESPN Jake, if he pulls this up, this guy's immaculate.
I don't have it on StreamYard, but I can go back. I got it on Canva, I'm sure. I'll be able to go find it. We'll post it on Twitter.
The reason why I said that is because I remember grading our draft higher than you guys. I think I was at a B+.
I
almost remember being a C+.
You were.
It was so here's the thing: off season versus draft. Because that draft is still not looking good to me, buddy.
Optimism is winning this offseason, boys. Let's go. Before we play a game. It'll change. It'll change.
I was heartbroken over the draft with the Malik Washington pick. Seriously. So that's why I am
a little bit.
Still am, because look at that. Look what he would be doing in our offense right now, man. We wouldn't have needed Tyler Boyd.
Hey, Jaquan.
Jaquan is showing out.
On the ground, buddy.
He's not.
Give him his flowers.
I don't know.
He's done better. He's not Malik Washington.
Watch him have a better. Oh my gosh. Watch him have a better.
He might have a better year than Washington because Miami has 6 weapons over there. They've got nuclear warheads out there that McDaniels, who looks like Al Pacino, that's his disposal, man. I mean, they're gonna be all right.
They're gonna be good. They're gonna be good. That's the one thing that scares me. They got a lot of speed.
Well, the only thing I'm worried about with the speed is Hooker. I mean, we're decent. We'll see.
Do we want to touch on the captains really quick?
That's what I was about to bring up. So
Cool.
they actually announced the captains as of yesterday, about 12 hours ago is what it looked like. Jeffrey Simmons, Big Cush, Will Levis, Kenneth Murray, Morgan Cox, and then Jim Wyatt reported after he reported the initial one that Calvin Ridley will also be a captain for week 1. Are there any that stand out to you guys? I mean, that's what I predicted.
We got to give the GOAT his flowers. Morgan Cox,
Morgan
best long
Cox.
snapper of all time. We've got to
Bro,
give
it
him
cracks
his
me
flowers,
up
man.
seeing
This guy's
him
nuts, man.
Seeing him as a captain every year is so funny. I know it makes sense for special teams, but it's so funny because when you see Morgan Cox like outside of his football uniform, it's just he's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's just a guy.
But he's
So
like
it's
one of
so
the
funny.
best, and he's one of the best. Like everybody in the league's like Morgan Cox, man. Like he's one of the best.
Dog.
And it's dog.
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, he's done it for so many years. He's just that guy, man. Shout out to Morgan Cox.
If you look at his picture in the captain's graphic, he just looks like a guy.
That man
who's
sells
like-
car insurance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh man, no shit, no disrespect to Morgan Cox, man. He's a beast.
He's a
But
guy.
yeah, I think the only one that kind of surprised me was Cushenberry. I thought that we were probably going to see like maybe I thought Calvin kind of came in and really owned it. Maybe D-Hop, the team would have voted for. But I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, it's cool. I'm just so glad to see the captain patches back on our jersey.
Yes, sir.
That was the dumbest
biggest
rule.
thing.
It's just it's so funny because it bothered the fan base equally so much. And when I thought about it as a fan, I was like, why is this bothering me so much? And I think what it was is that, like, I'm sure it means just as much for the players, but for some reason as a fan, it's like, yeah, this is the guy who is, taking accountability for the team type deal. And when you don't have them, it just felt like there wasn't a representation of that. And it seems so silly, but it bothered so many of us. So I'm so glad to see it back. And man, Callahan just keeps getting points by me. Like we haven't played a game yet. Let's see him get some wins. Let's see him change the culture of our offense and the culture of our team. But boy, right now I'm ready to crown him as one of the greats because he just,
oh my gosh.
he's checking all the boxes for me early is all I'm saying. Like, couldn't ask for a better head coach at this point before week 1.
And the thing that stood out to me the most about the captains is that Will Levis was unanimous. That says a lot.
I didn't know that. I didn't actually read the article.
Yeah, it said Will Levis was unanimous. So all 53 guys, 52 guys, voted for Will Levis, the quarterback of this team. That shows the buy-in that this team has, not only behind him, but the buy-in that they have in Callahan, the buy-in they have in Carthen, the buy-in they have in his organization. I mean, that says a lot. That's what I'm most excited about. Looks like we got to, everybody's pulling in the right direction. Undoubtedly, we don't have guys like Tier Tart that's, and contract disputes, Rosenhaus showing up at the facility, shit like that. We don't have that going on. Everybody's pulling in the right direction. I'm excited to see where the season goes.
No, I think we asked the question very early off season, like, who are the leaders of this team? I think these are your leaders. The only ones, somebody asked me weeks ago after they announced that or maybe it was last week when they announced that the captain patches were coming back. They're like, who do you think it's going to be? I did have Simmons, Cush, Levis, and Murray. I did have a miss on the last two. I thought it was going to be Stonehouse over Morgan Cox. And then, I mean, those two are interchangeable. And then I had Amani Hooker over Calvin Ridley. I thought they were going to throw one of those tenured guys on there being Hooker or Landry. And I just moved slightly towards Hooker just because there was talk about him being the green dot guy and all this other stuff. So the coaching staff and the regime, they hold Hooker in high regards, regardless of what we see in him. So those were the only two that I thought could be interchangeable.
Hey, man, that guy in the beginning of offseason said he wanted to be the green dot. He wanted to take leadership roles. I'm just glad none of that has come to fruition. I'm just saying, man. It looks like the players are aligned with what I'm thinking. He's not that guy. But
Amani Hooker career year incoming.
We'll see. I mean,
Wilson,
anything is possible.
He said in the article he needs, he needed pieces around him to really flourish. A guy that's making over $10 million, and he said he needed people around him to flourish.
He got everybody around him now. So if he can't produce with this team, we'll see next year.
Stop drinking the Kool-Aid, Jake. Come on, man.
I'm here to play devil's
Okay.
advocate, and that's why I'm in the middle of this, because I get to play on both sides, and then you can never call me wrong because I've called it both ways. But I think that wraps it up for today.
Browns quarterback Snoop Huntley cut. Practice squad question mark? QB3 question mark?
A+ name. D+
Let's go get that.
talent.
Let's go get that Team USA flag football guy. Put him on the practice squad.
All 145 pounds. I mean, might be the best pound for pound quarterback out there.
Did y'all see that dance move he did to navigate away from somebody?
He's better than Patrick Mahomes if you listen to him.
I normally don't feed into the Barstool guys, but Will Compton said that dude would get absolutely obliterated if he did that on the NFL field. It cracked me up.
We talked about Kyler Murray and Bryce Young and these guys being too small to play in the league. Let's take about 40 pounds off that frame and see how they produce. So that's all I'm going to say. But obviously, we do think there's going to be another quarterback on this roster probably by the time we got our show next week. So we'll see how that all plays out and be that third guy. And maybe that guy can be better than Malik Willis. We shall see. But that does it for us today, guys. We appreciate y'all checking us out. If it's your first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button, retweet, do all the things. That way you can be entered in the Tajay Spears signed jersey giveaway. And then buy the merch. Buy the merch.
Tajay Spear? That'd be sick.
Right? I mean, get him on the phone.
Shirt,
we'll make it happen. Look at that logo. Look at that logo.
So
buy the merch, buy the merch, buy the merch. Yeah. I'm ready for mine to get here. So we'll check y'all next week. Same time, same place. We love you. Mean it. Peace.